16. Bosworth Field, Leicestershire, England, UK. Bosworth Field is steeped in the blood of the Wars of the Roses, marking the final confrontation between King Richard III and Henry Tudor in 1485. The field is said to be haunted by the specters of soldiers who fell in this pivotal battle, their souls trapped in a cycle of vengeance and regret. As dusk descends, the sound of clashing swords and battle cries pierces the stillness. Locals recount tales of a ghostly figure clad in armor, believed to be Richard himself, wandering the battlefield, searching for his lost crown. Witnesses have reported seeing the spectral forms of knights engaged in combat, their ethereal swords shimmering in the twilight. The landscape is often shrouded in mist, lending an otherworldly aura, and strange lights flicker in the distance, resembling torches carried by long-dead soldiers. Visitors frequently feel an eerie chill, as if the weight of history presses down upon them. Whispers of betrayal and loss swirl through the air, and many who walk the battlefield leave with a profound sense of unease, haunted by the ghosts of those who fought and died for power. 17. Saratoga Battlefield, Stillwater, New York, USA. The site of a crucial turning point in the American Revolutionary War, Saratoga Battlefield is said to be one of the most haunted locations in the United States. Here, the cries of the wounded and dying resonate in the air, a chilling reminder of the brutal conflict that raged in 1777. As night falls, ghostly figures, clad in the uniforms of Continental soldiers, have been reported marching silently through the woods. Visitors describe the feeling of being watched, and the distinct sound of musket fire often echoes across the landscape, even in the dead of night. Some claim to have encountered the spirit of General Burgoyne, wandering the grounds, his expression one of despair as he contemplates his defeat. The ground feels charged with energy, and the presence of those who fought fiercely for their ideals is palpable. Near the famous Freeman Farm, where much of the battle took place, orbs of light have been seen floating, illuminating the darkened paths. The air becomes thick with the tension of history, and the sobering realization of the sacrifices made lingers long after one leaves. 18. Malvern Hill Battlefield, Henrico County, Virginia, USA. Malvern Hill, the site of the final battle of the 7 Days Battles during the Civil War, has earned a reputation as a haunted landscape, rife with the echoes of the past. Over 5,000 soldiers were killed or wounded here in July 1862, and the remnants of their suffering seem to linger in the air. As visitors traverse the battlefield, they often report feeling an inexplicable heaviness, as if the land itself is weighed down by the pain of those who fought. Shadowy figures have been seen moving among the trees, their forms indistinct yet hauntingly familiar. On quiet nights, the sounds of cannon fire and the cries of wounded men can be heard drifting on the wind, as if the battle is being replayed in a spectral loop. Many have experienced cold spots, and the sensation of unseen hands brushing against their skin. The distant outline of a general has been spotted, believed to be the spirit of General McClellan, surveying the field with a somber expression. The air is thick with an aura of sorrow, and it feels as though time itself has become unhinged, trapping the souls of the fallen in a never-ending cycle of despair. 19. Towton Battlefield, Towton, North Yorkshire, England. Towton Battlefield is notorious for being the site of the bloodiest battle fought on English soil during the Wars of the Roses in 1461. With an estimated 28,000 men dead, the field is a veritable graveyard of anguish. Locals often recount tales of ghostly knights roaming the landscape, their armor clanking softly in the stillness of the night. Visitors have reported hearing the chilling sounds of battle, screams, swords clashing, and the thunder of hooves, as if the carnage were still unfolding. At dawn, the mist often envelops the field, and spectral figures appear, reenacting the final moments of their lives. Some claim to have witnessed the ghostly image of the slain King Edward IV, standing vigil over the battleground, his expression a mix of determination and sorrow. The air is thick with the scent of blood and smoke, and an overwhelming sense of tragedy permeates the landscape. Those who wander the battlefield often leave with a deep sense of sadness, haunted by the souls forever trapped in the throes of battle. The 20th Battle of Alamo, San Antonio, Texas, USA. The Alamo is steeped in tales of heroism and tragedy, with the ghosts of those who fought valiantly lingering in its hallowed halls. In 1836, a small group of Texan defenders met their fate against overwhelming Mexican forces, and the bloodshed that occurred here is said to have left a lasting imprint on the land. Visitors often report feeling a cold chill in the air and experiencing sudden shifts in temperature, especially near the chapel where many of the defenders made their last stand. The sound of cannon fire and gunshots sometimes echoes through the night, followed by the haunting cries of soldiers calling for help. Some have even claimed to see the spirits of Davy Crockett and James Bowie, their forms barely distinguishable from the shadows, still standing guard over the site. The atmosphere is charged with emotion, and the air is thick with the scent of gunpowder, as if the battle were still fresh in memory. As night descends, ghostly figures move through the courtyard, their faces reflecting the bravery and desperation of those who fought to the end, reminding all who visit that the spirit of the Alamo will never fade. 21st. Nasbi Battlefield, Northamptonshire, England, UK. Nasbi, the site of the decisive battle of the English Civil War in 1645, is steeped in ghostly tales that echo the conflict between parliamentarians and royalists. The field is said to be haunted by the spirits of soldiers who fell, their lives extinguished in a brutal struggle for power. As night falls, the landscape transforms, with fog rolling in and obscuring the ground where blood once soaked the soil. Visitors often report strange occurrences, whispers carried by the wind and the sounds of distant trumpets heralding the charge of spectral cavalry. Some claim to have seen figures in period clothing marching across the field, their faces pale and expressionless, lost in the turmoil of their last moments. The air grows thick with tension, and an overwhelming sense of sorrow hangs in the atmosphere. Nearby, the remnants of an old church are said to be a focal point for supernatural activity, with stories of ghostly apparitions appearing in the shadows. Those who dare to walk the battlefield at night often leave with a sense of unease, feeling the weight of history pressing down upon them. 22nd. Passionale Battlefield, West Flanders, Belgium. Passionale, a name synonymous with the horrors of World War I, has become a place where the ghosts of the past linger long after the guns fell silent. The battlefield, marked by mud and suffering, saw countless soldiers perish in relentless conditions. Visitors to Passionale often report an overwhelming sense of sadness as they traverse the landscape, haunted by the specters of those who lost their lives. Ghostly figures have been spotted trudging through the mud, their uniforms tattered and faces gaunt, a chilling reminder of the futility of war. As the sun sets, the air fills with the sounds of distant artillery and the cries of the wounded, echoing the anguish of the past. Many claim to have seen flickering lights in the trenches, believed to be the spirits of soldiers searching for their lost comrades. The earth itself seems to breathe with the memories of the fallen, and visitors often leave with a profound sense of loss, feeling the weight of the tragedy that unfolded on these very grounds. 23rd. Dien Bien Phu Battlefield, Dien Bien, Vietnam. The battlefield of Dien Bien Phu is a ghostly monument to one of the most brutal conflicts in the Indochina War, where the Viet Minh Army decisively defeated French forces in 1954. The trenches and bunkers that weave through this vast valley are said to be haunted by restless spirits, unable to let go of the horrors they witnessed. Visitors who explore these remnants of war often report feeling an oppressive weight in the air, as if the atmosphere itself is laden with sorrow and loss. It's not uncommon for tourists and locals alike to hear the muffled echoes of distant gunfire and the low, mournful cries of soldiers calling for their comrades. The faint scent of gunpowder sometimes lingers unexpectedly, as if the winds are carrying the echoes of battle from another time. In the twilight hours, ghostly figures are seen among the ruins of French bunkers, their faces gaunt, uniforms tattered, and expressions hollow. Some claim to have encountered the spirit of General de Castries himself, surveying the remains of the battlefield with a sorrowful gaze, as if contemplating the futility of war. The silence in the valley is thick, only broken by the whispers of the dead, eternally bound to the land that became their grave. 24. Pidge Battlefield, Garfield, Arkansas, USA. The Battle of Pea Ridge was one of the most significant engagements in the American Civil War, and the site has long been known for its haunted reputation. The ghosts of the soldiers who fought and died here are said to roam the battlefield, unable to find peace. Visitors often describe a strange, lingering energy as they explore the fields and forests, as if the air is charged with the emotions of those who once fought fiercely for their lives. At the Elkhorn Tavern, the focal point of the battle, shadowy figures are sometimes seen moving silently through the old building, their forms blending with the dim light. The distinct sound of marching boots and the rustle of uniforms occasionally break the stillness, though no living person is nearby. Those who dare to venture deeper into the woods report hearing disembodied voices, speaking in hushed tones, as if the ghosts of Confederate and Union soldiers are still engaged in an endless debate. The cries of the wounded and the shouts of officers can sometimes be heard drifting on the wind, adding to the unsettling atmosphere. Many visitors leave with a sense of dread, feeling as though they have encountered the souls of the fallen, forever tied to the land. 25. Perryville Battlefield, Perryville, Kentucky, USA. The Perryville Battlefield, site of a pivotal battle during the American Civil War in 1862, is steeped in haunting history. The clash between Union and Confederate forces resulted in significant casualties, and many believe the spirits of the fallen soldiers remain tethered to the land. Visitors frequently report strange occurrences as they walk the fields where thousands once fought. The air is often thick with a sense of despair, and the sound of distant gunfire can occasionally be heard, echoing through the trees as if the battle is replaying in an endless loop. At dusk, ghostly figures in gray and blue uniforms have been spotted wandering the hills, their expressions a haunting blend of sorrow and rage. Some have claimed to hear whispered conversations among the shadows, as though the soldiers are still strategizing their next moves. The historic Hart County Courthouse, which served as a hospital during the battle, is particularly notorious for its paranormal activity. Ghostly apparitions and unexplained cold spots are common, leaving visitors chilled to the bone. The landscape, marked by sorrow and loss, carries an unsettling energy, reminding all who visit of the fierce struggles fought on its soil. 26. Palmetto Ranch Battlefield, Cameron County, Texas, USA. The Palmetto Ranch Battlefield is often overshadowed in American history, but it bears the weight of a haunting legacy. This site marks the final battle of the Civil War, fought on May 13, 1865. After the official surrender of Confederate forces, the conflict resulted in the deaths of both Union and Confederate soldiers, many of whom were unaware that the war had ended. Visitors to Palmetto Ranch often speak of an unsettling atmosphere that hangs over the area. The air is heavy with an inexplicable sorrow, as if the very ground mourns for the lives lost in a futile struggle. At dusk, shadowy figures are reported moving silently among the palm trees, their forms almost ethereal, as if they are locked in an eternal reenactment of the tragic events that transpired. The sound of distant gunfire sometimes breaks the stillness of the night, sending shivers down the spine of those who witness it. In the early morning fog, the cries of soldiers can be faintly heard, drifting through the air like a chilling lament. Some visitors have felt an eerie sensation of being watched, as if the spirits of the fallen are lingering, still tied to the land where they met their fate. The battlefield serves as a poignant reminder of the cost of war, and the restless spirits that roam the grounds embody the tragic history of Palmetto Ranch. 27th. Fort Donaldson Battlefield, Stewart County, Tennessee, USA. Fort Donaldson Battlefield, a key location during the American Civil War, is infamous for its haunting echoes of the past. The battle, fought in February 1862, marked a significant Union victory, resulting in the capture of thousands of Confederate soldiers. This site, where courage met chaos, is now said to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. Visitors often describe a palpable sense of unease as they traverse the grounds, feeling as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. The chilling sounds of distant cannon fire and the muffled cries of wounded soldiers frequently disturb the silence, pulling visitors back into the tragic history of the battlefield. At the Dover Hotel, which served as a hospital during the conflict, ghostly apparitions have been reported wandering the halls, their faces etched with the pain of their last moments. Some claim to have seen spectral figures in Confederate gray drifting through the surrounding woods, lost in the throes of battle. The eerie mist that often blankets the area adds to the unsettling atmosphere, obscuring the landscape and leaving a lingering sense of dread. Those brave enough to stay after dark have recounted encounters with the spirits of soldiers, their whispers carried on the wind, recounting stories of valor and despair. Fort Donaldson stands as a poignant reminder of sacrifice and sorrow, where the spirits of the fallen continue to roam, forever tied to the land they defended. 28th. Yorktown Battlefield, Yorktown, Virginia, USA. The Yorktown Battlefield, a pivotal site during the American Revolutionary War, holds a haunting legacy etched into the very soil where the tide of history turned. In 1781, British General Cornwallis's surrender to American and French forces marked the end of a long and grueling siege. But the battle left behind a profound sorrow that many believe has manifested as restless spirits. Visitors to the battlefield often describe a palpable energy that hangs in the air, thick with the weight of history. As twilight descends, the sounds of distant cannon fire and the faint clattering of horse hooves can be heard echoing through the fields, as if the past is unwilling to fade into oblivion. In the early morning fog, ghostly figures have been spotted moving silently among the trees, their silhouettes flickering in and out of view. The old earthworks and trenches, remnants of the conflict, are particularly active, with reports of soldiers in tattered uniforms wandering the grounds, their expressions a mixture of determination and despair. Some visitors have experienced chilling drafts and unexplained cold spots, often feeling a sudden heaviness in the air that leaves them breathless. The presence of the past is undeniable, with whispers of long-forgotten orders and the cries of the wounded echoing in the wind. Yorktown Battlefield remains a solemn reminder of sacrifice and courage, where the spirits of those who fought for freedom continue to roam, eternally tied to the land that witnessed their struggle. 29th. Stones River Battlefield, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, USA. The Stones River Battlefield is a haunting reminder of one of the bloodiest battles of the American Civil War, fought between December 31st, 1862, and January 2nd, 1863. This site, where over 24,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or missing, is steeped in sorrow and spectral tales. Visitors often report an unsettling atmosphere that hangs over the landscape, as if the weight of the past presses heavily upon those who walk the grounds. The air is thick with a palpable energy, and the distant sounds of cannon fire can sometimes be heard, echoing through the valleys as if the battle is being replayed for eternity. At the infamous Hell's Half Acre, where fierce fighting took place, ghostly figures in blue and gray have been spotted, their expressions frozen in time, caught in the throes of battle. The historic Stones River National Cemetery, where many soldiers are laid to rest, is particularly active with reports of disembodied voices and shadowy apparitions. Visitors have claimed to feel an inexplicable chill as they walk among the gravestones, often accompanied by the sensation of being watched. Some have even recounted chilling encounters with the spirits of the fallen, who seem to beckon from the shadows, sharing their stories of courage and sacrifice. As night falls, the battlefield becomes a canvas for the ghosts of the past, where the echoes of sorrow and valor intermingle, reminding all who visit of the sacrifices made on this hallowed ground. 30. Glorietta Pass Battlefield, Santa Fe, New Mexico, USA. The Glorietta Pass Battlefield, often dubbed the Gettysburg of the West, is steeped in a chilling history that echoes through the majestic landscapes of New Mexico. Fought in March 1862 during the American Civil War, this pivotal battle was crucial in determining the control of the Southwest. As Union and Confederate forces clashed amid the rugged terrain, the battlefield became a site of intense bloodshed and despair. Visitors to Glorietta Pass often describe a heavy atmosphere that envelops the area, as if the spirits of those who fought are forever intertwined with the land. The haunting whispers of soldiers can be heard on the wind, their voices carrying tales of valor and sacrifice. Many who tread the paths report feeling an inexplicable chill, accompanied by fleeting shadows darting between the trees, hinting at the presence of the fallen. The sounds of distant gunfire and the thud of hooves can sometimes be heard, as though the battle is replaying in an endless cycle. At the historic Glorietta Pass site, remnants of the camp and fortifications still stand, where ghostly figures in Union and Confederate attire have been spotted wandering aimlessly, trapped in the memories of their final stand. The eerie stillness of the night is often punctuated by the scent of gunpowder, awakening long-buried memories of the fierce fight. Glorietta Pass remains a powerful testament to the sacrifices made in the name of a cause, where the spirits of the brave continue to haunt the landscape, eternally linked to the tumultuous events of their time. These battlefields stand as silent witnesses to history, but for some they are more than just remnants of war. They are haunted by the souls of those who fought and died. Have you ever visited any of these eerie locations? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories of the world's most chilling places.